Hi-Fi Rush has been praised for its engaging gameplay, but it also has a lot of love given to its unique tone and lovable writing that feels ripped right from games of an older generation, much like that of Psychonauts 2. This game is a sequel to the cult classic platformer that sees you as the psychic Raz, delving into various people's minds to explore them and help them with their problems. While it's very different in terms of gameplay, there's plenty about Psychonauts 2 that Hi-Fi Rush fans will love, with its imaginative and incredibly creative levels that offer a nice mix between electric combat and satisfying platforming. The overall tone and story with how it weaves together its goofier moments with serious character drama and a truly emotional story is something that Hi-Fi fans are sure to fall in love with. One thing that's made Hi-Fi stand out among other rhythm games is how inviting and beginner-friendly it is, keeping its inputs simple and focusing on pure rhythm, just like another game, A Dance of Ice and Fire. The game sees you guiding two orbiting planets along various paths, their orbits creating the rhythms you have to match in unusual ways. A Dance of Ice and Fire is a rhythm game that keeps things incredibly simple, asking you to just push one button when the planets orbit over the path to move along. Through this simplicity, the game makes itself focus purely on rhythm, with levels able to go along with their beats in really creative ways, eventually cranking up the difficulty in a way that doesn't feel unfair, and the game offers so many visual treats and different types of music that it's hard not to love. When it comes to spectacle fighters, occasionally they can be hard to get into due to their focus on combos that can be hard to remember, and while Hi-Fi makes this easier with very quick combos, no one handled this better than Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. The game follows Raiden, a cyborg ninja going on his own crusade against a group known as Desperado, who are trying to plunge the world into war once more. What makes Metal Gear Rising stand above other action games is the sheer energy of it and the flow state it lets you enter, having but not asking or focusing on combos, letting you just wail on your attack buttons while perfectly timing parries with those same buttons to dominate the battlefield. Combine that with the game's signature blade mode, and you have a combat system that gets the adrenaline pumping quick. Featuring an utterly bonkers tone and narrative, alongside some incredible rocking metal tracks, the game offers a wild ride from start to finish. There's been quite the surge in popularity in recent years for simple rhythm games, replacing the complex inputs of other rhythm games for something easier to pick up, and leading this charge is the original in this regard, Rhythm Heaven. Rhythm Heaven is a series that offers lots of smaller rhythm games, all of them only asking for a few inputs and having their own fun theming and styles of music. Rhythm Heaven is a game that's hard to not enjoy, with incredibly lovely music backing all of its little rhythm games, each one having such incredible art and being so fun to get lost in. But that's not to say the game doesn't offer some great engagement, as it can offer some real challenge with these games, especially in its later remixes, where it mashes all of them together into one song and expects you to keep up. It's the perfect mix of lighthearted fun and serious rhythm challenge. Crypt of the Necrodancer is a dungeon crawler that sees you fall into a strange crypt where your heart sinks with the music and every move has to be to the beat as you explore a changing dungeon and fight monsters. Crypt of the Necrodancer offers the same things Hi-Fi does, just in a different way, with gameplay that will see you utterly lost to the music and flow. Although it can show its age in a few places, it offers an endlessly fun and endlessly replayable dungeon crawler with so many unique bosses to face, infinite dungeons to explore, and even the feature of custom music to spice up levels and change your pace. While nothing can quite match Hi-Fi's unique tone and style of gameplay, that's not to say that rhythm action is something entirely new, as it's starting to be a new trend with games like Metal Hellsinger. Metal Hellsinger is an FPS that paces itself alongside heavy metal music, asking you to do everything alongside the beat of the song and plan around that, creating engaging musically driven fights as the song swells and swells with your combo meter. While the game may be perfect for Hi-Fi Rush fans in terms of gameplay, the music and visual tone may be a little too far from home, but it also could be a place to discover a new love for metal.
So heavy here now. Ruination. nation on the mindless beaches of destiny's river. The weeds are branded with all futures threading.
Simple rhythm games that tone down the inputs and reaction skill needed to play them are starting to become more of a trend, especially within the indie space. Rhythm Doctor is a rhythm game that sees you apply for the program of the same name at a hospital, seeing you treating patients' heart problems through the power of music. Much like Dance of Ice and Fire, Rhythm Doctor works with only a single button, asking you to just press on every 7th beat. While this sounds limiting and strange, the game uses this mechanic and twists it around to create really creative levels by teaching and utilizing different musical concepts like offbeats, swing rhythm, and polyrhythms. It makes for incredibly fun and satisfying stages. On top of this, the game has so much charm in both the great music and the fantastic story and characters it has.
Does anyone mind if I cut in? Wouldn't want to step on anyone's toes.
Spectacle fighters are obviously meant to be flashy, it's in the name. With long combos and over-the-top action, they live up to it. But some games take that stylishness to the next level, such as with Bayonetta. The series follows an Umbra witch known as Bayonetta as she attempts to track down her past memories and ends up getting into deep conflict. Bayonetta is one of the current kings of the spectacle fighter genre that inspired Hi-Fi Rush's combat, and it shows, with lots of flashy combos to string together and specials coming together with mixes of light and heavy attacks. Bayonetta adds its own spice to the formula with Witch Time, allowing for even more style alongside the ranged combat options. For those wanting a little more out of Hi-Fi in a gameplay sense, this is the perfect match, and it still has plenty of personality to offer in its characters and story. While I said there's nothing quite like Hi-Fi Rush, there are some that are pretty dang close, as Hi-Fi was riding a wave of rhythm-infused action games right alongside games like BPM. Bullets Per Minute is a rhythm FPS that sees you as a Valkyrie fighting off the forces of the underworld, all to the beat of an epic rock opera. BPM is a first-person shooter very much in the style of Doom where you have to do everything to the beat from shooting to jumping, and everything else will move right with you. The game switches out the slow spectacle action for a high-octane rush as everything, from the Doom-inspired gameplay to the high-intensity music and the overwhelming visuals, will get the blood pumping. It's hard not to find yourself dragged along by the beat.
Big Junction, that's who we are.
While BPM nails the gameplay, is there anything that can quite match the energy and tone of Hi-Fi Rush? Well, it turns out there's a perfect sibling for it that just got swept under the rug. No Straight Roads puts you in control of a failed rock duo, swept aside by an EDM empire who you swear to take down and put rock on top again. While the gameplay isn't exactly the same, it definitely has the same DNA with third-person action combat. Unlike Hi-Fi Rush, you don't have to do any rhythm gameplay. Instead, everything else moves to the beat, and you plan around that, giving a very different feel. Where the game truly stands toe-to-toe with Hi-Fi is in everything else, with cartoony and lovable characters to follow, an outstanding visual style that is a marvel to look at, and utterly fantastic rock and EDM music to jam out to. It's a wild ride of the senses.
Circus ends now, 10-10.
Load and shoot! Maintain Operation Party all night!